we would deal more with the third portion of dance, which is dramatic dance. And one of the three main types of Natya related dance. And usually, when I was saying that the body is transparent, what is visible, what kind of things are visible in that? So we said that certain bhavs are visible there, and some characters will be visible there. What else? There are, if you look at, there are 4-5 kind of things which will be visible. So let's put that on the slide. Yeah, so very broadly, there are, it's very broad way because this is the way we look at drama, including movies, we look at using these, and including dance dramas. So, usually what is visible, one can say, is story. Like in certain dance forms, what is visible is Abhinay portion. And so when we say that there is a story which is visible, like when we say movie, there is certain kind of story which is visible. And what are the elements of these stories? So you would have something like a theme of overall theme of a story. You may have certain characters in that story, and you may have certain relations among characters and things in the story. You may have things in the story, some important things, or you can have locations, etc. And certain phenomena like some legislating or childbirth or something else. Some phenomena is happening there. And a story is getting unfolded through a drama, dance drama. And when that story is getting unfolded, there are certain events which are happening, which are native to the story, which are the story is getting opened up. Certain events are there, and these events also force us to sort of give certain consideration. I am saying this in very abstract. You should take an example and look at lots of contents which go in composition called dance drama. Every dance drama would have such a structure. Every possible dance drama would have such things. And formally possible, but actually the content would be different in different dramas. The form would be of these kind of things. And so we can take the Kutch Devyani story. Okay, this is a small story, but a very intricate story of some of you who have known it also, of Devyani and Kutch. Devyani is the daughter of Shukracharya, and and Kutch, Shukracharya is teacher of Danavs. And Brihaspati is teacher of Devtas, and Kutch is son of Brihaspati. Kutch is a very sort of young boy who is interested in learning everything under the sun. But there is one particular Vidya which only Brihaspati's rival, which is Shukracharya, has. And this is called Nat Sanjeevani Vidya, which is that if somebody dies, how to bring that person back to life. That kind of knowledge is a fantastic knowledge, but Shukracharya had done. To bring back dead people to life. Whatever Navjyoti might say, but he had this capacity. So Kutch wants to learn that. So he goes to Shukracharya and says, why don't you accept me as a student? Shukracharya is happy that his rival son has come to become his student, so he says, join me. And so very soon he also becomes his favorite student because he's very good in learning, studying, Guru Seva, everything is very good. So he becomes a favorite student of Shukracharya. Now Devyani, who is a daughter of Shukracharya, also sort of seeing all this in the same ashram. She falls in love with Kutch and several times expresses this feeling to Kutch, but Kutch is not listening. But one day, these Datyas are very, other students of Shukracharya are very jealous, are very apprehensive that this Kutch will learn Sanjeevani Vidya and go and teach it to Devtas, then whatever advantages Datyas have vis-a-vis Devtas, that will be gone off. So they don't want Kutch to learn Sanjeevani Vidya. What they do is, when in the evening he goes for taking cows for grazing in the jungle, when he has gone to jungle, Kutch, they kill him. So when he is going to come back home to the ashram, Devyani creates Tavva. Why has he not come back? She goes to father. What has happened to him? He did not come back. So he also has one more Vidya, which is one more marvelous, which is that he can see things from far off. Durdarshti, like television. He also has Durdarshti. And so he used that. He realized that for this, the Indians, this other Datyas, his students has killed him. Very bad. So he tells Devyani they have killed him. Devyani says, no, get him back to life, just like this, not right. So he uses Sanjeevani Vidya, brings him back to life. So everything is okay. But these Datyas, they plot they make a very big plot. What they do is, next time they kill him, they burn him also. Once they burn him, then sort of the ashes, they mix in the wine which Shukracharya has in the evening. No? Sura used to have wine in the evening, so they mix ashes of Kacha in Shukracharya's wine. And so he would drink it up. And even if he wants to revive Kutch, he will die because those ashes are in his stomach. So they make a grand plot like this. Next day they kill him, they burn him quickly, and the ashes they mix it up in the sura of Shukracharya and made it drinking. So, and then again Devani says, where is he, why hasn't he come back, and such things. So with the university, he finds out that these people have not only sort of killed him, they burned him. And then they made him drink this up. So he is in his stomach. So this is a difficult situation. So what he does is that he knows that there are two portions of body. One is the stool sharir, another is the sukshma sharir. Subtle body and the physical, or this jada, or this stool kind of coarse body. So coarse body is gone. The subtle body can't be gone. It remains there with the thing. And so subtle body can learn. So what he will do is, he will teach Sanjeevani Vidya to Kacha. And then he will revive him. And tell him, once he revives Kacha, Shukracharya will die. But then tell sort of Kacha that as a sort of, after he is dead, Kach knows Sanjeevani Vidya, he should use it to revive Shukracharya. So then everything will be okay. So he does that. He teaches to Kach and tells Kach, revive me after I revive you. So he revives him. Shukracharya dies, but then again it is revived by Kach. So everything is happy. But Devyani, the Kach says, after all this is done, I have graduated now. I've learned what I've come to learn here. So thank you. I'll go. So Devyani says, why don't you take me along? I mean, she has been taking care of him all through. Twice she brought him back to life. He says, but no, you are like my sister, my guru's daughter. I can't do this. Sorry. So she gets very furious. And such an unkind person. He came just to learn this. The people were telling her behind, there was a talk going on that he has come, Devtas sent him, so that he learns this and takes it back to Devtas. And he's like a very cold-blooded kind of person. And so she gets very furious at him and gives him a shot. Curses him that you have done all this trick with us, you will never be able to use this learning or this vidya. So Kach says, okay, even if I can't use it, I can teach it to some people who can use it. And that's how the story ends. Devyani is sort of is wrong in this story. It's part of Mahabharata. So the story is little treacherous and contemporary, etc. Since there are situations of similar types in our own lives. But there is, I have told you this story, now you heard it, you may tell this story to somebody else. And then somebody else may tell this story to somebody else. So, when I communicated this story, you picked some portion or some aspect of it. And using your own embellishments, you will tell it to somebody else. That somebody else will pick some things, that from the story. And using one's own way of telling things, that person will tell it ahead. So there is a thinking, very traditional. There must be something about stories which is a skeleton of a story. story, a minimal of a story. And rest of it is like embellishments and improvisations on that. So if this is a story, if I have to make a movie on this story, I will do the embellishments and improvisation depending on the medium which is movie making. If I have to do dance drama, I will do it like that. If I have to do, say, poetry, I write a poem, I write this story in a deep way. And that will be a different way of embellishing, different way of improvisation. So, what we will do is just give a pressure of what the skeleton of the story is. The grammar in this. And usually the dance drama is a kind of improvisation, embellishment on that content, on the story like this. So there is like Yashoda Krishna, Watson history portrait, there is a story which is there in that, which is being sort of unfolded while dancing there. Or some other sort of thematic thing on which dance drama is made, one would enact that out. Like there was some thematic storytelling, like Leelavati was danced here in Madras. The daughter of Bhaskaracharyya wrote some thematic story, his daughter. So that was enacted. Yeah. So there are themes which will enact these stories. So on the one side, you had a body which is moving, visible to the audience, whose transparency is giving rise to, in the end, the deepest part which it is giving rise to is the story. Maximally you can see story. You can see certain bhavs, you can see certain characters. Small clippets are there, like Yashoda Krishna being child is being enacted. So it's a clip from some larger story. So the visibility of a story is the last thing you can do with dance. It's a more sophisticated thing. That's why this is called the third stage of dance, because you can see a story. And the story as a dead end of the last screen, the last thing in the dance, is has certain structure. And we'll just give an example of the structure. Just to give it a this we should talk earlier then. There is certain formal structure in every story. We are giving so it's little abstract. The Guru says little abstract, but this is what things are. There is like in Leelavati, Bijgade, there is a concept of seed and fruit. You have a seed which, when soiled in the world, will bear a fruit. The plant grows up, or tree grows up, bear fruit. There is a seed fruition kind of structure. So bij, bij was the seeds, and phala is the solution of equations, etc. So Bijgad deals with seed fruition cycle somewhere. Similarly, all stories, without exception, have certain seeds and some fruition in it. Seed fruition structure is usually the seeds in stories are something like there could be a dilemma. Dilemma is a seed whether to do this or that. There could be certain conflict which is on fruition is resolved. That conflict. Like in Tare Zameen Pe, you had this boy. The problem with this boy, around 10 ways, the director tries to show that scene. And in the end, there is a fruition, when everything is resolved after climax. So there are seed to fruition. There is some seed which is of interest to audience. There is some situation of the world in which there is discord, some kind of discontent, discord, which is of interest to the audience. And how that is resolved in the end is the way the story concludes. It tells the way it is resolved. This seed could be in many ways. They could be resolved that I am going to do this. It's very difficult. Nobody believes that you will be able to do it. But in the end, it is like Bahubali, somebody like that. There is a seed and there is a fruition. It can take many shapes and forms. So usually the overall structure is that of the seed fruition thing. And it's very important because seed fruition structure is the one whose parts are also seed fruition structures. It is embeddable. It's embeddable. And that you have a big story, you can have a small story as part of it, and another small story as a part of it. There can be some parts which are overlapping also, and so you can have it's a recursive kind of thing. Seed fruition kind of structure. For instance, Mahabharata is very big. So overall, Mahabharata is also some seed fruition. Every section of it has seed fruition. And in Mahabharata is a story where every misdeed is punished. Even of Krishna, misdeed of Krishna punished within Mahabharata, etc. So there are a whole lot of, some of them are probably not modern readings, etc. Some people say that Eklavya is not handled properly. Or there are issues like that. But so the content of a story which is dance always have something which is unresolved, and somehow that is to be resolved. So usually the structure is like this. There is a seed which is impregnated with all kind of situations. There is a lot of difficulty in its plotting. Like in Tare Zameen Pe, you have to show in many ways nature of this child, the problem with this child. It has to be shown this way, that way, 4, 5, 6 ways. And then there is intricacies in this nourishment of that once it's sown. And then there is surprise in its maturity. And then eventual fruition. This is somebody is working on the Surupa here. This structure is of the Surupa. This is so like surprise is maturing is Praptasha. And so seed is the beach, and this intricacy is nourishing is Pataka, etc. This is the Shrupak gives this structure. This same is only written in English, same structure. So this structure exists, and one can see it in every narrative, on which dance could be constructed on that. This is not just true for dance, because it's true for narrative films, narrative dramas, etc. for everything. So, let's get back to dance. I said dance, there are three fundamental levels at which dance is done. The content which is visible in the body is either the content which body can afford to do, the affordance of body. What body can afford to do, which is like a break dance is like that. A body can afford to do this kind of thing. It's surprising, somebody rotates on the head. It's possible that such thing can be done by the body. You can rotate on the head. So, and hip hops are like that. So, it's possible, or break dances like Gotipua does. Body can afford to do that. These are largely dependent on the rhythms of the different parts of body. It's actually, somebody had once put it beautifully, when you're playing a tabla, you have two hands, or a mridangam, etc. You have two hands. You place one hand by left foot and the other hand by right foot, and sort of mimic that. With that, whatever you do, your rest of body can afford to align with that, would be a dance. That would turn out to be a dance. Whenever there is a rhythm which is there, fundamentally, on top of it, whatever you do, if the rhythm is maintained, that will be a dance, provided there is a social. So that is Nrit, is a form of dance. Then, sort of, if you add Abhinay to it, then it becomes, it gets certain levels of meanings, the semantics becomes different. You can read many things in it, various types of bhavs, and the Rasispati is also different, accordingly it happens. In the first form of dance, the Rasispati happens in some way. And the third form is where the stories range. Stories in the Natya form of dance. Now, all the three forms actually exist together in every dance. In a more content or less content way, it exists almost in all forms of dance. So if one asks a question more deeper, from the narrative to emotional kind of dances to this affordance dances, we'll go in a minute into that. But one thing I want to say that if one looks at a grammar of dance, grammatical question is like you have language, you have many people keep speaking language, Tamil or English, and so is there a way from some minimal set of items with some rules can we generate all the language? That's a quest is called grammatical quest. So given all forms of dance, can we have few elements and some rules by which all forms of dance can be created? Like if you have grammar of English or Tamil, given some lexical items, you can create all sentences of, supposedly, of Tamil and English, etc. So a question can be asked, given a sort of all kind of dances which are there in the world. Can one write grammar of dance? There was a suggestion that what Tandu did in Shastra, the next chapter, or it is said also that Tandu had danced something. He had danced because of similarity with Vyakaran. In the beginning of Vyakaran, there is this Shiva Sutra, Sanskrit Vyakaran, Pani Vyakaran, begins with a play of Damru. Damru is that drum with two strings. So one motion leads to two sounds. To do one motion, it leads to tadak, 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 tak, 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 tak. It leads to two sounds. So it begins with 14 such sounds. Means grammar. They are called Shiva Sutra. These things. These are 14 sound couples, which are like a set of sounds. And these abstract things are used to organize rules of grammar. So, Ayom, Relic, etc. These are some of these. Tera Sutra, Shiva Sutra. It is said that Shiv played, there was, people began writing grammar, but they are infinite sentences, they almost had infinite rules to write. So nothing was settling down. Till Shiva played this double Shiva Sutra, because he made 14 groupings of sounds. And using this 14 grouping of sound, rules could be written. This group of sound, if you do this transformation, you get that group of sounds. Rules could be written, and so within 4,000 odd rules, all sentences could be constructed from a given root and nominal stems and verbal roots. If you are given this, using these rules, one will construct all the sound. Similar question can be asked about dance. And so it is thought that when Shiv told Tandu, taught something to Tandu, and asked Tandu to play this before Bharat, it's going to teach them. So it is said that 108 karnas were danced by Tandu. So there is apprehension, they must be like, we don't know what those need karnas. There are some temples which show karnas, etc. But we don't understand them. It's difficult to make sense. Why are they fundamental elements of dance? Whatever you see in the sculptures. What are these? These karnas are like these Shiva Sutra, like the double which is played. These karnas must be something like that, out of which all these anahars, etc., one can construct rest of the dance movements. One can construct all this. So, one of the problem, actually, the problem is what are these karnas which Tandu actually asks? What is Tanda? It's not clear. And to answer this question is like lifetime of inquiry. We don't know how was Tanda. It's open issue, but suppose that if somebody is able to say that there are these few movements which are fundamental movements, very basic movements, and using these movements I can compose other movements. If one is able to make that claim. What are these fundamental movements? We know, like in Gotipua, there are certain 15, 17 very fundamental movements which distinguish that from other dance forms. Empirically, we know there are some very fundamental movements. Even not Bharatanatyam also, there will be some fundamental movements which distinguish from other movements. So, using them, we can construct very much of Bharatanatyam. But Gotipua will have different movements, out of which it's fundamental movements. But the question is here is there a universal set of minimal movements out of which other dance forms can be constructed? This is like asking a question, is there a grammar of dance? In Indian tradition, this question has been attempted many times to try to, yes.
So when you say that, talking about Damru, you said the syllables had come and from that people codify a grammar for language or any sounds could be understood from that. That's what I understood from
Yes.
you. If that is so, then are we not taking too much mythical and how to understand where was Damaru, who was holding it? Then are we not philosophizing the whole thing and taking it to mythology, going to a realm where we don't understand actually, we only agree, we don't understand?
No, here the case is totally opposite. We understand that these are Pratyahara sutras. These are Ayum is understood, it's a very important term.
No, we have the terms, but...
And using these terms, we know how to derive sentences. But
how do we understand that they came from Damru? And Damru is the instrument of Lord Shiva.
Yeah, so that is pathological. The other side is
so
not...
where is the crossing line? Where I start believing and where I start understanding?
So the understanding portion is the real portion. The believing portion is...
because believing mostly happens without understanding. I start believing.
Possible. But here one thing is clear in the grammar. Understanding is very accurate and exact. There are 42 Pratyahara Sutra and there are 14 Shiva Sutra. With them, the parsimony comes into writing grammar. Parsimony, you can write rules, they are actual rules. These rules are sort of Pali Sutras, and anybody can derive, and not even anybody, even computer can derive sentences. They are so mechanical. They are so, this is done. Now they are called Shiva Sutra. And then they are called like Damru. It's true that they are a set of two sounds. Each of them they are abstract entities, abstract sounds, because they don't mean anything. In fact, very interesting one Pali Sutra is there, which says that Parani is a grammar of language which has no verb in it. Can there be any language where there is no verb? Parani is written in some language where there is no verb. It's about language. Language is about how to construct problem. From the verb as fundamental, how to construct sentences, etc. It gives. But it itself has no verb. It's written in an artificial language. Artificial languages are like group of sounds. So Parani says that the paribhashic shabdas are ashabd. They are not found in usage, but they are useful to write grammar. So he works this out very accurately, and it works wonders. Now to construct mythic aspect of it is what you are trying to say. I am saying the opposite thing. That this is more accurate, and when you mythologize it, you get certain character of this thing. But the mythology is not primary. Primary is the structure which has been built.
My question is, why have we started dating it back to mythology instead of going further history? And probably we are not able to trace the dates to be attributed to mythology after a point. That Shiva gave and suddenly...
No. Shiva gave is not historical. It's like nature of thing. It is not date in history.
It's not the religious Shiva.
Yeah, it's the ideational Shiva. And it is the fundamental element. It is like, if you summarize, if you say, if you know theory, if you know topology, you will summarize it in some way and say, it is doing something like that. It is saying things fundamentally. So, mythic mode of knowledge is a mode of knowledge where there is a belief that whatever is the oldest is the deepest. Whatever is the most deep thing is also the most ancient thing. So if you read, for instance, Descartes, very important Renaissance author, his introduction starts with a sentence that whatever is oldest is the deepest. Now this is just a belief. So whatever constructions you make on this belief are called mythic. So you may claim, you may explain something like theory of relativity or anything. The deepest thing is found if you put in a mode of oldest. It will become so, you may have, after theory of relativity, somebody might say twins went. One twin remained here, other went in a cup near the velocity of light. When they came back, this man who remained here and is dying, the other man is still younger. Now, it is a way of explaining relativity results, but it has been methodized because you have constructed a story in it, and without violating the science of it. So these are like that. So you have grammar and you construct stories of it, which stays true to the grammar. So it's a grammar which is a fundamental thing.
Story first or the grammar?
Grammar. Grammar first. Is the grammar is to communicate grammar that story may come. The rational portion is the grammar portion. Story is to catch it in its essence and communicate it. So to say, let us not have stories is very, very foolhardy, because then teaching becomes impossible. You can't teach. Teaching requires summarization, and summarization means storytelling. You know, many things said in a parsimonious way.
Stories are wonderful, sir, but when they are associated to one particular belief system or a religion, and when we are talking about a larger world, we are probably secluding a certain set of people from even trying to understand this or come for a performance.
No,
because automatically you are associating yourself to a religion when you depend upon one religion's stories.
No, the phenomena is other way around. There may be aversion to certain idioms, certain language of the story. You can have, you may say, biblical stories, and there may be a group of people who have aversion to biblical stories. Well, it's not their stories. It's not their tradition.
Religion, I mean any religion.
Yeah, any religion. It's not their stories. So it's not that my stories will not be understood by others. It is always other stories will not be understood by me. It's the other way around. That I have aversion to somebody else's stories. Like, he thinks he's too smart, but don't listen to him. It's more like that. Then, my stories are not worth listening. Nobody has that kind of thing. So, it is the kind of communal and situation which you see is more vis-a-vis others than yourself. So when you say that some people have mythologized and they want others to believe that mythology, and they are in power, they will push Shiva in the throat of Muslims. Do something like that because they are in power. So it is not this side. Usually it is the other side. That I don't want to listen to this word Shiva. Or I don't want to listen to, not Shiva, to Muhammad, or to this like religious beliefs, or something like I don't want to listen to Academy, or something like that. So it's always, most of the time, the mythic politics is aversion to certain group of people whose stories they are, who communicate those stories, rather than that attempt for me to tell my stories to others. I will keep telling my stories to others. Innocently. That is okay, I tell it beautifully, I dance it out, and you know, I'll do that. Whether others listen or not is a different thing. But you may have a politics, negative other politics, where certain stories are not appreciated, etc. And you may look down on those stories. Unfortunately, the world is getting onto this politics after Second World War. After Second World War, the next warring situation is this politics. That has happened. So, but the relation between what is mythic? Mythic has its construction on a belief that whatever is deep, which I think very deep, must be the oldest. This is in, if you little bit look into mathematics, other things, there is something called algorithmic theorem, which says if I take 100 coins and toss them at once, or if I take one coin and toss it 100 times, the result will be same. Which says if you lay something over time, and if you lay something instantly, both will be same. This is a belief. This is a mythic belief, out of which this algorithmic theorem actually is the one because of which your cell phones are working. When you're talking to somebody, there are certain slices which are taken. It's actually operational in your cell phone. It's hardwired there. That given the slices of your voice it takes, it reconstructs exactly the other side. It's based on this belief that distributions which are in space and distributions which are in time must be equivalent. Mythic way or story rendering is always based on that. That story is saying that whatever is the truth now has always been like that. It's familiar to you. So when the twins go, one twin remains here, other goes there. It goes to speed of light. This is familiar to you. It has always been there, no people parting and coming back. It has always been there. But this is a deep portion that time moves differently in other things. So this deep portion has been merged with something over time. So this is mythic. Mythic is the beautiful portion of the world. Mythic is, if you see mythic as something by which you are expressing depth. On the other side, there are superstitious way of doing things, where you may have certain stories which don't seem to have any correspondence with any depth. You may have. And which is to say, this is a condemnation, that this group of people have stories which have no depth. Jews are like that. You may say like this, no? They don't, these people don't have stories which are there, but they keep talking to each other. Jews are like that. This is like Akshay for other people. This is non-mythological reasoning. This is political, this is some aversion reasoning with aversion as a kind of thing. So, whereas, in fact, I would say that like we did Gotipua, to understand Gotipua, we made a myth out of it. All the story is a fictitious story. But this fiction is truer than reality. I mean, a good movie is a fictitious thing. It's true.